Morning to you. So relaxing to start that way. It's 7 a.m. Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. Welcome to New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Partly to mostly cloudy this morning, scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening, highs upper 80s to low 90s. Some of the stormy area, some of these areas have been wet from all the heavy flooding that we had. So let's head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the first check of the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike. How dangerous could it be for some of the heavier rains in the spotty areas with all the rain we had?
So I think today we could be looking at up to 2 inches of rain, which is still impressive given how fast that rain could fall, specifically over central and southern New Jersey. And I mean south of 195 going into southern New Jersey later on this afternoon. We'll show you that with the forecast map coming up. But there's a lot of sun to start the day this morning, nice and clear across the state. There will be some more clouds working in throughout the afternoon, as even the radar picture nice and clear at the moment. So we begin our day warm. There's still the flooding threat. That flood watch is in place for northern parts of the state, even through central New Jersey, right there through Middlesex and Mercer counties until this afternoon. And then the heat advisory, that's new as of this morning. That goes right through tomorrow evening at 10 p.m. for the northern counties until 8 p.m. for portions of southern New Jersey. So it's another round of heat and humidity that returns throughout this afternoon and even into tonight. We're already at 79 degrees in Newark, 75 in Toms River, and 78 out on LBI. It's a little bit warmer than this time yesterday. In fact, a lot warmer, 7 degrees warmer than this time yesterday up in Hackensack. And the humidity very high. Feels tropical outside down even toward Camden, 77-degree dew point. That's again, when you get above 75, that's like that rainforest humidity we've been talking about. So with all of the clear sky this morning, we stay nice and dry through the early morning hours. No rain expected until later on this afternoon, and it'll come in spits and spurts, isolated downpours as those southerly breezes push up a lot more of that heat and humidity throughout the course of the day, helping to aid in the development of those storms. You can see it best with the future cast taking you through the rest of this morning. Temperatures jump into the mid 90s. It's going to be a hot one through the afternoon. And then you start to see around that time, some of these storms begin to bubble up and work their way across New Jersey. But the difference this time, as opposed to 2 days ago, notice the wind, these wind arrows here, pushing all of these storms quickly to a north and northeasterly direction. They don't sit over the same location for hours on end. Excuse me. So we'll see plenty of rain, yes, but at least it'll be spread out across more of a general area, which is why these storms may only give us up to about 2 inches of rain in certain locales this afternoon. It's another hot day tomorrow. Temperatures in the upper 90s, feeling like it's above 100. And then for Friday afternoon, have another round of storms that comes on through. But this is the front that helps us cool down and clear out for the upcoming weekend. Saturday still looking beautiful. Lots of clear sky to enjoy and cooler too. Watch this temperature up in Sussex, New Jersey, how it drops down into the 50s later on into Saturday morning. A nice cool way to start off the weekend before we warm back into the 80s by the afternoon. So a few more rounds of rain today and especially tomorrow afternoon with very hot weather. But I think Friday and Saturday clears out very nicely, Ken, just in time for the weekend. We'll tell you more about that with your weekend forecast coming up.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Mike. It's 7:04 right now. Let's take a look at some of the traffic we already have in the area. If you go to 495 by the Route 3 merge, this is in the North Bergen area. You can see it's quite a bit of volume there, but that's just because of the merge getting onto 495. The fact that it's moving at that point is actually a good sign. So we're told it's about 20 minutes from that point to make your way into Manhattan. It's only about a mile and a half from where those cars are to the exit at about 40th Street, 42nd Street, that area in Manhattan. But that's how they slow down. It's like 2,000 lanes converging down to one to make it to the Big Island. There you go. Other roadways to look at. We have flooding still on Route 22 right now. That's eastbound by Washington Avenue in Greenbrook Township. All lanes remain closed there. We have flooding also on 22 by Somerset Avenue, Watchung Avenue in North Plainfield. North Plainfield and Plainfield really got slammed by those storms more than any place else in the region, it seems. They had the two deaths. They had two deaths a week and a half ago as well, right by the Cedar River. That's a very rough area. I hope people who live in that area, Plainfield, North Plainfield, Just take note that if you hear your meteorologist talk about heavy rains or the chance of flash flooding, just don't stay there. Leave before it starts raining because we've learned a terrible lesson here. We have delays now in the GWB lower level eastbound. So let's take a look at the 8095 approach if we could. So just on schedule here as we're talking about the script that they sent over from the NJ 511 traffic folks, the good people. You can see the upper level on the right, lower level on the left. So this is now saying that we have lower level issues that are about to start. So you see how everybody's kind of slow on the upper level on the right? You're going to see that same thing in about 15 minutes when we take the next shot. Both sides are going to be about the same. It's about 25 minutes into Manhattan that way. 7:06 is our time. Monday night's flash floods caused 2 deaths, as I mentioned. That is according to officials in Plainfield. The intense floodwaters swept a vehicle into Plainfield's Cedar Brook. It seems the water rose so quickly at the most intense point of the storm when it was coming down 2 inches an hour, which is like Florida torrential downpour. That was the most intense point. It apparently carried the car away. Mike said this yesterday that if you have only 6 inches of water, 6 inches, that's enough to displace the weight, the downward weight of the car. Remember, it's only those 4 points, those tires, where the car touches the ground. So if you have just 6 inches of water and it's running, you could move the car. And so people look at, it's not that much water. I could drive through that. If it's moving, rushing water, and you don't know if it is or not, don't try it. As Mike and I were saying yesterday, uh, turn around, don't drown. Don't take that chance. So the 2 people who died have not yet been identified publicly. City officials warn residents to pay attention to weather experts again when warned about potential flooding in that area and anywhere else for that matter. And a home in nearby North Plainfield doesn't even exist today anymore. That's because it was destroyed Monday evening in an explosion that happened during the severe weather and the flash flooding in that community. The North Plainfield Fire Department says that when crews got to the scene just after 11, the house was already engulfed in flames. Crews had to wade through several feet of standing water to fight the fire. Just the irony of you're in water up to your knees and you need that very water you're wading in to get to the house that's burning up. It's just a crazy dichotomy, if you will. But the good news is the people who lived there in that house, they saw the flood occurring, they got out. So they weren't in the house when the explosion and the fire happened, and that likely saved their lives. Not only was that house destroyed, but so were the family's vehicles. So they have nothing, but they have their lives, and that's the most important thing. The cause of that explosion, not yet known. And the devastating flood struck the Plainfield Area Humane Society, leaving the shelter underwater and destroying all supplies, including food, bedding, and litter. So they have nothing for the animals. The good news is the animals are all alive because of the heroic efforts by the director, staff, and the volunteers. They saved every animal, moving them to higher ground despite chest deep floodwaters in some areas. Can you imagine they risked their lives and saved those animals? While the animals are safe, though, the shelter urgently needs donations and assistance to recover. If you can help, please go to their website, hopeforpausehs.org, hopeforpausehs.org, or contact your local rescue organization because all the area shelters are trying to offer help for them because they desperately need it. 7:09, Monday's intense rainstorm dumped 4 to 7 inches of rain on Summit, overwhelming stormwater systems and causing widespread flooding there as well. The Passaic River surged to 2,150 cubic feet per second, nearing Hurricane Irene levels. City crews worked tirelessly to manage the crisis, and water levels have now stabilized. The Manville Fire Department responded to numerous calls, including water rescues, natural gas leaks, and electrical hazards caused by flooded basements. Firefighters also tended to their own firehouse because the firehouse in that community also flooded. 7:09, Governor Phil Murphy visited Berkeley Heights yesterday, saying the White House has reached out to the state of New Jersey, signaling potential federal aid as officials assess the damage. And I'm sorry to get political for a second, but you see what happens? Of course, President Trump has a home in New Jersey. That probably didn't hurt. But the minute something happened, it didn't matter that New Jersey is currently a blue state. The president and his people picked up the phone and said, "Whatever you need, we got you." So that's encouraging, and that's the way it should be, no matter who's in the White House and who's in the governor's mansion. So we could once again get some federal aid for the state of New Jersey. Murphy blamed the floods on climate change. I nod my head. Mike will tell you we've had weather like this. It's not like it's never happened before. Does it happen more often? That's debatable. We only live a 100-year lifespan at best, so you have to go back and forth and see. But there was a flood during Noah's time too. I don't think that was climate change. Now the tragedy follows two other storm-related deaths in Plainfield, as I mentioned earlier, that happened earlier this month. 710, a 43-year-old woman faces charges of second-degree desecration of human remains and witness tampering after a 4-month-old baby was found dead in a trash bag on Lakeshore Drive in Camden. The U.S. Marshals Service made the arrest Tuesday. The infant, identified as a Philadelphia resident, was in Ebony G's care since April. A witness discovered the body and received threatening texts from G. The cause of death remains undetermined. G is in custody, awaiting extradition. Authorities in Passaic County are investigating the tragic death of a 6-year-old boy. Prosecutors say police responded to a call about an unresponsive child at a home. It happened near Aspen Place and State Street in Passaic, 8:30 Tuesday morning, where the boy was found dead. No further details were released. The investigation is continuing, and anyone with information should call police. Tragedy in Paterson this past weekend. Investigators say a 5-year-old child drowned in a backyard pool there Saturday night. Officials say family members found the child at 10 at night. They don't know why the child or how the child got into the pool. Kids are curious. They do things like that. The child was not breathing at 10 p.m. when they found the child. After being rushed to the hospital, the child, and we keep saying the child because we don't know if it's a boy or a girl, the child was pronounced dead at the hospital. Officials are trying to determine again how the child got into the pool. A federal jury in Brooklyn has convicted 3 New Jersey men, Asim Boone, Jarrett Bruce, and Leslie Valentine, for a brutal 2022 kidnapping and extortion plot in Astoria, Queens. The trio abducted a man at gunpoint. They tortured him with bleach, a blowtorch, and a knife, and demanded $150,000 and marijuana in order for them to release him. Facing up to life in prison, the defendants, linked to a violent New Jersey gang, also tried to destroy evidence. U.S. Attorney Joseph Nocella called the crime heinous, praising the FBI and NYPD for their work in securing the verdict. A 34-year-old North Bergen man has been charged in a hit-and-run crash in Leonia that critically injured a 77-year-old woman. Authorities say Osmari Jimenez Luna struck the victim while she was crossing Grand Avenue last Thursday morning in a red 2012 Toyota Sienna and fled the scene. The woman remains in critical condition at Hackensack University Medical Center. Jimenez Luna was arrested Monday and is being held at Bergen County Jail pending his court appearance. 7:13, a fire broke out at a multifamily residence on Pratt Court in Washington Township, Gloucester County. Police and firefighters responded to reports of smoke, finding a blaze in a first-floor unit early Tuesday morning. The fire was contained with no injuries reported, as the unit was not occupied. Neighbors were safely relocated. The cause remains under investigation. 7:14, on Sunday, 5 people were rescued from the ocean 3 miles off Long Branch after their boat took on water and flipped. The fishing vessel called Gambler from Point Pleasant Beach and a private boat spotted the group perched on the partially submerged hull of their boat. The Gambler saved 1 person while the private boat rescued the other 4. The Coast Guard and New Jersey State Police safely brought all 5 to Shark River Municipal Pier. No injuries were reported. The boat was towed by a salvage company. 73 degrees right now, 7:14. When we come back, New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the latest on New Jersey's political scene with the Inside Edge. Partly to mostly cloudy this morning, scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening, highs upper 80s to low 90s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with your full Garden State forecast. Plus, we're taking your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Wednesday. I'm Ken Rosato. It is 7:15. Taking calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Partly to mostly cloudy this morning, scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening, highs upper 80s to low 90s. Right to meteorologist Mike Favetta. He has the full Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning to you, Ken. Keeping an eye on those storms for this afternoon, some of which could be severe, not only with the heavy downpours and flooding rains, but even some gusty winds into this afternoon. I'll show you where coming up. As far as the present, we start off very warm with temperatures in the upper 80s on their way into the low 90s today over toward Matawan and Freehold. Yes, a chance of storms for you, especially inland sections of New Jersey, west of the Turnpike, certainly from Trenton and even up by Princeton. The shore points today have lesser of a chance of seeing those storms, so a pretty decent day down toward Tom's River and even Point Pleasant with just some haze that lingers. The heat index already at 716 starts off feeling like 86 degrees in Newark. You're going to get into the upper 90s today. 81 over on Ship Bottom, and plenty of heat and humidity through this afternoon. So we're dry to start. It is very humid outside. It feels quite muggy. And I think we stay pretty much rain-free until this afternoon when those clouds return and those storms arrive, probably beyond 2 and 3 o'clock today. So until that time, UV index remains at a 9, which is very high. You've got a lovely afternoon, feeling quite warm and humid through this evening. Those dew points very high. Anytime they're above 75, it is quite tropical, and it'll stay that way even through tomorrow, with the heat building throughout tomorrow afternoon. Hottest and most humid day of the week is tomorrow, and then we start off Friday afternoon a little bit cooler as that front slides through. Look at this color change, brown down into the shade of yellow there. That will allow for drier weather to filter through and make it feel so much better and much more comfortable by the end of the day, Friday, and even into Saturday. As far as these storms are returning, they arrive this afternoon. You can see them here bubbling up through central New Jersey, working their way east. They move a little bit faster than the storms from 2 nights ago. So while they will contain some lightning, some heavy downpours, even some strong gusty winds, they don't sit and rain for hours on end over the same location. So they'll move a little bit faster, helping to spread out that rainfall over several areas. Throughout the day on Thursday, tomorrow, you can see sun to start, humid to finish, and warm. And then we see some more clouds return Friday with that front pushing through, sparking off some more storms, but at least they're in the southern part of the state, bringing back the threat of some rain by the end of the day. Here's a look at the weekend. We start off nice and dry, maybe a shower on Sunday, but overall Monday looking very pleasant, and we stay quite dry into Tuesday as well. So a nice looking start to next week, keeping our weather looking drier, at least to begin Monday and Tuesday. So as far as this weekend is concerned, I think it's much more comfortable on Saturday, 86 as the high, and then some storms return later in the day Sunday, 86, but a little more humidity works back in by the end of the weekend, Ken. We'll talk more about the severe threat today as well as tomorrow, and that heat, some triple-digit readings expected by tomorrow here across New Jersey with that heat index.
All right. The heat. Imagine July being hot. What is this world coming to? All right. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, that's serious heat. That's not just 82. That's serious heat. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mike. It is currently 74 degrees, so it has actually ticked up a degree in the last 20 minutes. Our time is 7:19. Let's take a look at some of the roadway issues we have. This is I-287 at Easton Avenue in Bridgewater right now. We're looking at just a little bit of traffic. I mean, it's moving. It's about a 10-mile-an-hour flow, 10 to 15 right now, so not so bad. At least it is moving. We have flooding, though. This is something you should worry about. In Greenbrook Township, there is flooding on Route 22 eastbound at Washington Avenue. So avoid that because all lanes are closed eastbound there. And over in North Plainfield, all lanes are closed on Route 22 westbound by Somerset and Watchung Avenue. So Route 22 between Somerset and Watchung Avenues westbound in North Plainfield, all lanes are closed. We take a look at the approaches to the to the Hudson River. The Holland Tunnel, we're told, is 15 minutes crossing over. Lincoln Tunnel is about 20. And this is the GWB 8095 approach. You can see the upper level on the right, not a good idea. So all the trucks, they're crowding up the upper level. The lower level, your better bet, 20 minutes at the lower. It's about 30 at the upper. 7:20 is our time. Sussex County Commissioner Bill Hayden has been indicted for allegedly claiming a veterans tax exemption. It cost the state $382, but nonetheless, you can't do that. The charge stems from a stolen valor scandal first reported by the New Jersey Globe, revealing Hayden falsely claimed to be a Navy SEAL. Despite bipartisan calls for his resignation, Hayden, who did not seek re-election, will see his term end December 31st. Attorney General Matt Platkin emphasized that such fraudulent claims will not be tolerated. It's not about the money. 721, Newark Congresswoman LaMonica McIver has raised a record-breaking $752,000 in the second quarter of 2025. That is the highest ever for New Jersey's 10th district, despite facing federal charges over a May altercation at a Newark immigration detention center. McIver, who pleaded not guilty to assaulting law enforcement in spite of the video you see there, which some say suggests otherwise, she drew support from small Democratic donors nationwide. A lot of people kicked in $5 and $10. With $628,000 cash on hand, she is backed by House Democratic leaders calling the charges baseless. Again, don't believe your own eyes, believe what we tell you. A federal trial is set for November. 721. Two New Jersey journalists face criminal charges for reporting on an arrest that was later expunged. Red Bank Green's Brian Donahue and publisher Kenny Katzgrau are accused of violating a state law by not removing a truthful police blotter item from their site, despite noting the expungement. The Freedom of the Press Foundation calls the prosecution blatantly unconstitutional, citing Supreme Court rulings protecting journalists' rights to publish lawfully obtained information. But understand what this means. You get arrested, it becomes a public record. That record gets published on a website. So years ago, it would go in a newspaper. People would throw out the old newspapers. In this case, it gets published on a website. It stays on the website forever. Now, the charge gets expunged for any one of a million reasons. Could find out that the trial was fraudulent. I'm just saying. Could be that the police made a mistake. Could be they got the wrong guy. But that person's name is now on the internet as being convicted of X, Y, and Z. The problem there is it lives forever on the internet, even though that person may now be considered 100% innocent. That is the problem. So now that this is going to become a state versus federal issue, constitutional rights, etc. But when you call yourself a journalist, you can put the shield of the Constitution on you, freedom of the press, but there are responsibilities that come with it. That's why when you go to journalism school, as I did, you have to take semesters, plural, of law. You have to understand what the law says, and you have to be empathetic to the people you are reporting on, because you could destroy somebody's life and reputation based on what you do. And when somebody's reading that online, they see the name, they see the charge, they don't care about the background story. They move on, but in the back of their head, they just associate that person's name with something bad that person did. So that's why it is the responsibility of responsible journalists to correct the record. And these people allegedly did not, because the internet sites still had the old information. They just this is what happens when you want to be the community journalist and you're all by yourself. You post stuff, but you don't follow up. And in this case, it came back to bite them. 724. It is now time for politics from Trenton, explained like no one else can do it. Here's New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein with the Inside Edge.
Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, July 15th. Welcome to the Inside Edge. And, I've been thinking that maybe people who live in glass houses just shouldn't run for public office. There are people with skeletons in their closet. I mean, there's no doubt that I used to. And for those who are looking to make a difference, there are plenty of opportunities for public service that don't involve putting your name on the ballot. And, we know that not every secret makes its way to the public. Obviously we don't know about the ones that we don't hear about. But there's enough empirical evidence out there that flawed candidates frequently get caught. And I wonder why they risk embarrassment. As I look at the recent controversy surrounding Assembly candidate Ronnie Arnault, it's fair to wonder, what was he thinking? He acknowledges that he faced a domestic violence allegation 9 years ago. He denies it was his fault. Instead, he blames his then partner. He claims that there is evidence that would prove his innocence, but he can't produce the evidence because he said he didn't save it. Uh, you know what Ronnie saved after nearly a decade? Naked photos of his accuser. And he sent this revenge porn to the New Jersey Globe, thinking that might convince us not to run the story. And I got to tell you, not a chance in hell that we're going to become Ronnie's enabler on this. Now, top Democrats are demanding that Arno either present evidence or drop out of the race. And not everybody can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. In 2015, there was a Republican Assembly candidate in Bergen County named Anthony Capola. His campaign ended after a hate-filled, self-published book surfaced. It was called Outrageous, and it was full of rants and slurs attacking women and blacks and Asians and Muslims and gay men. I mean, Coppola, tried to get out of it by saying it was just satire. There was an assembly candidate in South Jersey this year who sold photos of her feet and more on a foot fetish website. There was George Youngkin, who dropped out of the Burlington County freeholder race after a news story revealed that he had choked his ex-wife. He was arrested for that and charged with stalking another woman. He won that election anyway, and he resigned about a minute after taking office. That same year, there was Seth Grossman, who was trying to hold on to a Republican congressional seat. The bottom fell out of his campaign after disparaging comments about blacks and Hispanics became public. And don't forget about Gary Hart, the front runner for the 1988 Democratic presidential nomination. His campaign ended when he denied allegations of infidelity and challenged reporters to follow him around if they didn't believe him. The reporters accepted that challenge. They followed him to a yacht called Monkey Business, and they caught him. That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow.
So let's just note that was yesterday's Inside Edge from David Wildstein, but it was such a great Inside Edge we had to rerun it. I'm sorry that I didn't mention that beforehand. David has political stories like nobody else in the business. He's an unassuming kind of guy with stories that if you sit down at dinner, you could go on for 3 days. He's just amazing to hear about revenge porn and politics. Who knew? 7:28 right now, 74 degrees. When we come back, the best high school principal will join the show. Now, that's just not my opinion. His name is Tony Catani. He was just given the title of the best high school principal in the whole country at a national gathering in Seattle. And the school that he runs is right here in New Jersey. The phone lines are open, by the way. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Partly to mostly cloudy this morning, scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Just beware if you're in an area that's already been flooded by rains over the last few days, be especially cautious. Highs today, upper 80s to low 90s. The full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta in just a moment. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. We're seen daily at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, news on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And we're streamed live on Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/ONNJ. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Very good morning to you. It is 74 71. Wow, in front of my eyes, it just dropped from 74 to 71. Mike, you're going to have to explain why that just happened. 71 degrees at 7:30, Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Partly to mostly cloudy this morning. Scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Highs upper 80s to low 90s. Now we go to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a detailed Garden State forecast. Mike, I'm guessing I got a big old cloud over my head just now, and that caused the temperature to go.
That could be a reason. It could be a reason. A lot of the airport weather stations that give the 5-minute readings, the ones that are $50,000 worth of equipment, they actually take an estimation and an average along the minute timeline and spit out a new temperature variable to prevent the effects of a little tiny itty bitty passing cloud overhead. So we want
There you go.
to make sure, that things, that a lot of times that'll happen for a weather station. But at least our forecast looks hot today. It looks sunny, and we've got some humidity in the forecast too. So that humidity, that's not dropping at least until Friday. It stays very warm through that point, especially tomorrow. Today it'll feel like 95 to 99 degrees. Tomorrow, easily feeling like 100 or better across most of New Jersey. And with the storms that are likely, there's certainly some flooding potential this afternoon after 3 and 4 o'clock today, but it only gets hotter into tomorrow. So the storms that return today will make it feel even more humid later tonight into tomorrow afternoon. The satellite picture showing nice clear sky, a little bit of cloud cover there developing across central New Jersey, but sunny up to the north, and we stay that way in through this afternoon. A little bit of that valley fog too, you see, coming up in the Delaware Water Gap. Our forecast throughout this afternoon: upper 80s at the coast, low 90s inland. It's going to be a very hot feeling afternoon with the temperatures probably feeling like 100 in the Philly suburbs there toward Camden, and down by Medford 99 degrees, 97 up through Hackensack, and even over in Sussex. It's a warm afternoon tomorrow too, with that 100 feels like in Trenton and 99 in Newark. So another round of hot weather that lasts at least throughout the day on Friday. I think Friday afternoon sees a big cooling, and that will make it feel much more comfortable come Saturday, with that humidity dropping throughout the day on Friday, leading into a very pleasant day Saturday. So we'll let the 101 stand for one more year back in 1988 at Newark. And our forecast stays clear through the morning. That'll make for great beach temperatures out toward the water. There's Sandy Hook. Your high tide happened earlier this morning. There's the high tide in Atlantic City, 12:20 p.m. Later on this afternoon with a 73-degree water temperature. So mostly sunny today, UV index high, with that water temperature warming up, and sunset not till 8:26. I forgot about the boating forecast, because those that are out on the Barnegat want to get some jet skiing in. It's a great day to do that today, especially before high tide at 1:31, because you've got the storms after that. And then with our sunset happening nice and late today, there's also a low risk of rip currents at the beaches. Always important, however, to swim in those lifeguarded zones. Okay, so for today, we have that light shade of green over the northwestern part of the state. That's the general risk of thunderstorms today, as well as a small risk of severe wind. Those are winds in 58 miles per hour or greater. Tomorrow, it's more widespread, that severe outlook. I think we get a better chance of storms tomorrow and a more widespread risk of the severe wind covering the state in that shade of red. So keep an eye to the sky tomorrow. I think we have a better chance of seeing more widespread storms with a little bit more potential as the heat and humidity are greater. Then by Friday, when that front slides through, it does so through the afternoon, so we could see another round of storms later in the day. But that high pressure that sweeps in for the weekend makes our Saturday look gorgeous. And then there could be some extra clouds, I think, with some warmer weather by Sunday as another front moves by, giving us the potential for some midday showers and storms. Until then, however, it's just downright hot and humid. Temperatures throughout Friday start off very warm, but start to cool by the end of the day on Friday. And then Saturday, best day of the weekend. Sunday could have some extra clouds and showers. And then Monday and Tuesday of next week, starting off warm but sunny. It'll be a nice start to the weekend. So down the shore, I don't think there's as much of a concern for the heat, especially with that wind coming off of the water. Low 90s for you. Saturday still looks great. Sunday, better chance of some sun early on. And then Monday and Tuesday of next week, also quite pleasant. So maybe getting that late July week in at the beach, you've got a decent start to next weekend down the shore, especially starting off Monday and Tuesday.
All right. Hey, two very important points. Today is National Hot Dog Day, and I want to know how you're celebrating. That's number one.
Okay. Oh, I've got the
Or
hot dogs ready to go. You kidding me? The
of course
nitrate
you
and
do.
nitrate
Are
free
you a
hot dogs. Love those.
no, of course, you get the raw nitrate free, so you gotta eat them. Let's put it this way: if it's a hot dog you can keep in your refrigerator in a package for 9 years, probably not the best for your system. Just saying. And I do have some in the back. I won't say the brand. And the other thing is, it is our friend meteorologist Bill Evans' birthday today, so we may
Wow.
want to
Happy
call him
birthday,
on his
Bill.
morning show. Yes, and wish Bill a happy birthday. All right, Mike, we will check back with you. Appreciate it, sir. 73 degrees now, 7:35. Let's take a look at some of the traffic we have in the area if we could. This is in Mount Laurel Township. This is just a pretty shot. Figure we always show you heavy traffic. This is actually moving quite well. So in Mount Laurel, this is I-295 at Route 38. You can see nearly a bit of traffic to report, but the traffic headed toward you, that's southbound traffic, and moving very well. If you wanted to go down the shore, or toward that part of New Jersey. You're not really down the shore that way, but you could using 295. You'll head toward Philadelphia, likely. We also have some problems, though, a little bit of volume, if you will. This is on the Garden State Parkway in the vicinity of Bloomfield. This is mile marker 150.8 north of the Essex Toll Plaza. A couple of minutes ago, that was a bit heavier, so it's kind of bills and ebbs, but right now you can see again heading toward you is the southbound traffic at about mile marker 150 on the Garden State. We have flooding to report on Route 22. This is in Greenbrook Township. That's all from the other night. And also flooding on Route 22 in North Plainfield with all lanes closed there. New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur northbound by the Southern Mixing Bowl. We have heavy traffic, a 2-mile delay in that area. That's going into exit 15W, I-280 in Newark. We have delays at the Holland Tunnel now reported, making your way into Manhattan. It's 25 minutes. It's 30 at the Lincoln Tunnel. We look at the 8095 approach to the GWB. Now both sides, upper and lower level, upper on the right, lower on the left, both very heavy right now. We're told it's about a 35-minute crossover time. Keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't get worse. 7:37 is our time. Tony Catani is the principal of Lenape High School in Medford, New Jersey. Proves that school leaders can make a big difference in the success of their teachers and students. Mr. Catani was just awarded the 2025-26 National Principal of the Year Award on July 9th at the annual conference of the National Association of Secondary School Principals in Seattle. Mr. Catani, thanks for coming on this morning and congratulations to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. It's great to have you on. New Jersey proud here. When did you find out, by the way, that you were even in the running for this?
I found out just after spring break I was a finalist. The NSSP CEO president contacted me and asked me if I would like to celebrate some of our teachers for Teacher Appreciation Week. And he said he would call me into Zoom and contact me to Zoom. And I had all this prep work ready to celebrate some of our teachers here at Lenape. And it was an absolute trick. That's when they informed me that I was a finalist. He asked me how I would feel if I was a finalist and then told me I was a finalist. So he got me on the Zoom call, recording it, and that's how I found out. So that was in
That's
April. I found out I was a finalist.
tricky. And you host a podcast yourself. We're going to talk about that in a moment too, for everyone to check out. But you were among 6 finalists. You beat them all out. You beat out all the other high school principals in the country. So I guess the award went to you and a middle school principal, right? The two of you became the
Yes.
principals of the year. So what does it feel like? I mean, you're talking about over thousands of people and you stand out as the guy. What does that feel like?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It didn't make sense to me until I went to the conference, and I was there with about 2,000 other principals, and some other people started making that comment. It is overwhelming, but the best part about it was, going to the conference and doing the podcast. I get to make connections with so many principals across the country that there's so many amazing, dynamic school leaders across the country that I'm learning from them. They're learning from me, and it's just a really nice community. So I'm just proud to be part of the community, to be honest with you.
And that's a brilliant concept because everybody has something positive that works for them. And it's great that you have this forum, if you will, to exchange ideas. And some things work and some things don't. You could share what is working and kind of nix what isn't. By the way, how did you tell your family and your friends in the school, all the kids in school, that you won?
Yeah, so my wife was unavailable to attend. We have 4 daughters, and she had to stay home with the kids because we couldn't leave for 6 days and then go to Seattle. And they had me pretty tightly booked. So when I accepted the award that night, I FaceTimed my wife and daughters in. It was 9 o'clock at night in Seattle, and it was midnight here. So that was probably one of the best parts of the entire process, was informing my wife. They were watching on Instagram Live, but then the news got out, and that night I didn't sleep at all, to be truthful with you. I received so many text messages and phone calls from staff and students and parents and my district office. It's been amazing. I haven't really slept much since, but the community here in Mount Laurel, you were talking about the traffic here, it looks great. So if you want to get to Lenape, you have clear roads. But it's a great place, and they've been celebrating me, and I've been celebrating them.
That is, by the way, that is specifically why I selected that. We have about 300 traffic cameras. We specifically took that camera shot just for you. So, by the way, you just mentioned Seattle at 9 p.m. Just a digression. Seattle at 9 p.m. in July is bright sunshine, right?
Yes, I never knew that. It didn't
Yeah,
get
because
dark
it's
till
so
about
far north.
9:45.
Yep.
Yes, I
Yeah, you're
was
so
completely
far up.
thrown off with the sun. Yes, it was about 9:45. It started to get dark. So I was
Considering
FaceTiming my kids while I was there to show them that.
Considering it's such a normally a dreary, cloudy, it's a beautiful city, but it's normally such an
Yeah.
overcast, drizzly place. For some reason, July, it's I because I've been there a number of times in July. July is always sunny and the sun lasts, and it's not humid. It's usually pretty dry, and the sun lasts till almost 10 o'clock at night. I mean, bright sunshine till 10 o'clock. It's just bizarre, but very nice to see.
It didn't rain one time in 6 days that I was there. So I don't know if the sun was shining on me or the conference or what, but it didn't rain. It was beautiful. It was about 75 to 80 degrees.
That is a July phenomenon. If you go in
Yes.
April or if you go in September, it'll pour every day. It's just the way, well, not pour, but it'll be drizzly and dreary. That's Seattle. But it's July is the month to go if you're going to go visit, and you'll fall in love with it in July. And then if you move there, you'll say, "What did I do? It's so dreary." But let's get back to you with education. How many years have you been in education? Because you've been at Lenape for 18 years, right?
Yeah, so I've been in education for 27 years. I was a teacher for 5 years. I was an assistant principal for three over at Shawnee High School. I taught at Cherokee inside our district, and then I was an assistant principal at Shawnee for 3 years, and then I'm starting my 19th year as principal of Lenape High School.
And it's not a little school. Describe that school, and does it feel like just a big family?
It does. It's 1,900 students, just roughly 1,900 students, about 200 staff members, 225 staff members. We call ourselves Lenape Family, and we talk about Lenape Pride. And I couldn't be prouder of the Lenape community right now, the Mount Laurel community. I'm just so happy to represent Lenape and New Jersey on this national stage. And we have amazing students and amazing staff that now I get an opportunity to share all the great things that they're doing, from our Leadership Academy to our World Voices Day, to our Camp Lenape, all the things that we're doing, our amazing teachers. I'm just ecstatic about that part of this process.
Well, that's because of good leadership. I know you don't take it upon yourself, but that is good leadership. And talk about your work with peer observations for teachers and how important that is, because it's not about you becoming principal and everybody else has to follow suit. You work actively with the teachers to help build leaders of the future, right?
Yeah, so for this part, I felt like every student needed our best teacher, and we needed all of our teachers to be more like our best. And our teachers are doing it every day. And each day we teach 795 lessons on average. So there's so many opportunities a day for another teacher to go in and see what some of our great teachers are doing. And every teacher has a wonderful skill set, whether it's they're dynamic lesson designers or classroom management. They're really great at their classroom management, or promoting growth mindset, or they check for understanding really, really well. We could all learn from them. So our staff identify their strengths and some of the areas they can work on, and then they go about themselves and personalize their professional development to go into those classes for 25 minutes of the 57-minute period to see what that looks like and feels like, and talk to that teacher about that so they can be a little bit better. But our students deserve the best. And so we try to make every teacher more like our best.
And so it's all about motivating new innovations and as you said, talking to other principals around the country and talking with the teachers in your very school and coming up with the best ideas. Sometimes though, do you think that some principals at some schools are so overwhelmed and bogged down with other issues, they just don't have time to do these kinds of things? I mean, because there's a lot to be said also for the population of your school. It seems that you got a lot of great kids, at your school. Not every teacher's blessed. You have, I mean, every principal is blessed. There are probably a lot of school districts where there are issues with single parent households or broken households or poverty, et cetera. What role do you think that plays in the development of some of these young kids?
Well, I think it's quite significant. We have to treat every student as an individual and learn about their story. And it's the same thing with our staff as well. But I think it's an overwhelming profession here, and it's also isolating at times. And we can't let it stay isolated because we can't do this work by ourselves. There's so many great things that are happening from leaders to teachers that we're learning from one another. And the more our teachers talk and communicate about some of the students and some of their challenges and some of their successes, that's better for our school community. I think with being a leader as a principal or as a teacher, we're so busy defending the work that we do that we can't take pride in the work that we do. And we have to take pride in the work that we do and share some of our best practices so we can help our kids be successful.
Well, let's talk about the podcast now. You have a very popular podcast called Proud Principals Podcast with Tony Catani. What made you start that? When did you start it? And what does that mean for you?
Yeah, so it was really around the same premise as the peer observations. When I started the peer observations with our staff, I felt as though that I needed to model this, and if I were asking them to try to learn from our best teachers, that I needed to do the same thing. I don't have all the answers. I learned that a long time ago. I have my strengths and I have areas where I can improve. So I started to model that by going and visiting other schools and having other leaders visit me. And I was super impressed by some of the things that some of the teachers were doing around Burlington County and throughout the state of New Jersey. So I'm not the best writer, but I can talk a little bit. So I put it into a podcast. My wife Kate is the one that told me you should put this in a podcast, and it provides leaders across the country a library of resources that they can utilize to possibly put into their buildings. But it provides an opportunity for those leaders to celebrate the great things that they're doing, and they should be proud of the things they're doing. Like I said earlier about we're always so busy defending the things that we do, we can't take pride in the things that we do. So it provided an opportunity for these leaders to share their passions and the things that they're really proud of, and it's done really well right now. I think this platform will help it and to get more leaders to share. But I'm really proud of the Proud Principals podcast right now.
I went to the website you have for it, and I took a look at or you know what, it might have been the iHeartRadio site, and I saw how beautifully laid out everything was. It's kind of organized like a great principal would do it. Very, very orderly. So if somebody wants a specific topic, every topic is listed. You could find out details and click on, and I mean, not just because you're here, it is a well-run podcast. You get right to the point, you don't mince words, and you don't waste time. And so as a listener, and I'm not, I don't have kids and I'm not into being a principal, but yet it was listenable. It was quite interesting. So you're doing a great
Thank you.
job with it. Good for you for doing it. What is
I
next for
appreciate that,
Tony
especially
Catani?
from
Yeah.
you.
Well, I appreciate that for
I
saying that.
appreciate that,
Thank you.
especially for you. That means a lot because I'm not a podcaster. I'm a educational leader principal. I'm just trying to find my way and share best practices. But I really appreciate that from you.
Well, absolutely. Look, the best educators are able to boil down complex information in a way that others can absorb it and understand it. And you do that
Good point.
extremely well. What is next for
Thank you.
Tony Catani?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to leading Lenape into this fall. I'm also looking forward to putting Lenape on the map across the country and sharing some of the best things that we're doing. But to be truthful with you, I'm not really sure what's happening right now. This has been a whirlwind. So I get to sit down soon with my district and NASSP and NJPSA, the New Jersey Principal Association, who has been super supportive of me through this entire process. Karen Bingert there at NJPSA, and figure out what is the next step. But I'm really excited for this fall, meeting with my team in just a short bit of time to continue to plan for the year. But right now, day by day, to be honest with you, it's been a whirlwind. It's been fantastic, though.
Well, you make New Jersey proud, and we're so happy for you, excited for you. Thank you for coming on. The principal of Lenape High School in Medford and the 2025-26 National Principal of the Year, Tony Catani. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Once again, congratulations. Come back again. Look, there it is. Nice. Congrats. And come back again. And I'm sure come the fall when all the kids are back, you're going to get lifted up on their shoulders because they must be so proud of you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day, Tony. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
7:49 right now. We have 76 degrees, partly to mostly cloudy this morning, scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening, highs upper 80s to low 90s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full Garden State forecast, and we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 7:50, taking calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Partly to mostly cloudy this morning, scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Highs upper 80s to low 90s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Mike, it's nice once in a while to have a really positive, uplifting story about a New Jersey hero as opposed to some of the
Yeah.
politics and the doom and the gloom that we have to do every day.
That's right. It is. It is. And it was refreshing to hear that, especially as teachers are getting started for the school year now in late July. So why not, with a refreshing podcast, give you a little inspiration for the school year ahead? You look outside and you say, well, it's still summer vacation. I don't know why we're talking about school. You still got back to school sales that are happening across New Jersey right now. So maybe in advance of the afternoon rains that come in not only today, but even tomorrow, want to get some of those early sales in with temperatures that climb to 90 over in Jersey City this afternoon. It'll feel like 95 to 99, even back over by Hackensack and Newton. Another hot afternoon with those storms returning. Speaking of some storms, down in the tropics, a little bit more of a potential for development as you see this large mass of clouds here, a lot of convection and circulation working along the Gulf Coast. So that's an area to watch. It has a medium risk of developing into a tropical system. Our named tropical system is water temperature still quite warm in the Gulf of Mexico, but we're on the early side of hurricane season. We usually peak with hurricane season activity by the middle of September. So we have at least 2 months to go, just beginning to see that hurricane season get going before we get to the peak. Our forecast points to very warm weather, especially in the Midwest and down south. Our forecast here for New Jersey has average heat, but I think it's slightly above average going into the next 2 weeks. And then a lot of the heavy rains are forecast for the Midwest. Our weather should stay slightly above average in terms of rainfall going into the end of July. The forecast for the next 2 weeks the next week rather, 7-day forecast has plenty of sun today, followed by some afternoon storms. Tomorrow, better chance of storms after the big time heat. Temperatures will feel like 100 or greater across many of the cities. And then by Friday, we see the cooler weather return as the cold front sweeps through and temperatures dip a little bit in response to the drier weather. So less humidity on Saturday will feel fantastic. Maybe some extra clouds and a shower by Sunday, but Monday and Tuesday next week start off nice and dry. If you head toward the beaches to escape the heat, you have to really be sitting on the sand with that southwesterly breeze to enjoy a little bit of a refreshing breeze, because inland it'll be hot in the low 90s. Saturday cooler, 86, a great beach day. And then by Sunday, could see a few afternoon storms. Monday and Tuesday, back to sunshine. So a very July-like forecast, Ken, with all of this heat and another round of hot weather beginning today, 90 degrees or better, taking us right through Friday.
All right, and there we have it. Thank you so much, sir. It is 7:54, 76 degrees right now. Let's head over now to Berkeley Heights. We take a look at I-78 at Diamond Hill Road. The folks who are headed toward the screen are headed eastbound, and you can see there is a little bit of traffic as you head eastbound on I-78 through that area. By the way, for those that don't, here's a quickie reminder lesson for the interstate highway system. If the highway ends in an even number, it heads east-west. So I-78 goes east-west. If it ends in an odd number, 13579, it goes north-south. So I-95 goes north-south. And then you have east-west roads are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. A lot of people, it's funny, I'm amazed by how many people only hear that for the first time when I tell them that. They're like, really? Should have been taught in school, just saying. 7:54 right now. Some other roadways to talk about. We have some areas of flooding still. Route 22, Washington Avenue in Greenbrook Township. All lanes are closed. Route 22 in North Plainfield by Watchung Avenue. All lanes are closed. That's all from the flooding the other night. The approaches to the Hudson River. Right now, the Lincoln Tunnel is 30 minutes in. It's 25 of the Holland. We take a look at the 8095 approach to the GWB. Upper level on the right, lower on the left. Definitely take the upper. As you can see, it'll save you 5 to 10 minutes. The lower level is about 35 minutes in. It's 25 to 30 on the upper. 7:55. If you live in Gloucester County and you own a car, listen up. When you hear this, you're going to scratch your head and say, really? Why are we wasting our time? There has been an increase in cars being stolen from people's driveways in Gloucester County. Now, before you clutch your pearls and say, how terrible, these evil car thieves, you may want to shout out loud, because in every case of the cars being stolen, yeah, you know where I'm going. The car owners left their key fobs in the car. See, for a while, people were leaving the key fobs in a little ashtray by the front door. And the robbers were like cracking in the front window or going through the front door and just grabbing the keys. So don't leave your keys there. But now people are leaving the keys right in the car so that the car can't even lock. So they walk by, they see the lock is up, they open the car door, the alarm won't go off because you have the fob in the car. All they have to do quietly when they see your lights go out and you go to bed, they hit the start button, they drive away. No alarm, no loud noise. Don't do that. That's just stupid. Honestly, if you leave your fob in the car, accidentally is one thing, but if you leave it intentionally and your car gets stolen, that should be on you. Police in Washington Township have video. It shows 4 teens wearing masks and gloves, very intelligent teens. Hopefully they could use their criminal minds to good use at some point, or put it to good use in the future. So far, 4 cars have been stolen exactly that way. All the cars have been spotted in Camden and Philadelphia. A lot of joyriding with young kids. Needless to say, don't leave the key fob in the car. Don't leave the key fob on a table by the front door. Don't leave the key fob in the first drawer when you walk in the front door. That's where thieves look, because they're not stupid. They know that they're not that stupid, at least. They know that people are creatures of habit, and that's what they do. It's usually by the closest point to your front door. You leave your key. That's where you grab it on the way out. That's where the thieves are going to go. So protect your car. Unless you don't mind them taking your car, then it's all on you. 7:57, the Supreme Court Monday said President Trump may proceed with his plan to carry out mass layoffs at the Department of Education in the latest win for the White House at the High Court. In an unsigned order, the justices lifted a lower court ruling that had indefinitely paused Trump's plan. The Supreme Court's decision puts that ruling on hold while the legal challenge plays out. Within 2 hours, the Department of Education sent out notices to employees indicating it is immediately resuming its plans to shrink the department. Just so you know, what tends to happen, having been a journalist for 40 years, yes, I know I look like I'm 18. I'm 58. I've been doing this literally. I started at 12 on a cable TV show. I was working on commercial radio in the New York tri-state at 18, and I'm 58. So 40 years I've been doing this part of it. Okay. In that time, I have watched the Department of Education grow from a little tiny department, 1979, 1980. It started with a couple of dozen people to tens of thousands of employees, from a couple of dozen to tens of thousands. And in that time, education has gone down. Our scores have gone down. Kids are cutting school. The percentage of kids going to college it went down, it came up, it went down. The problem is you're coming out of college illiterate. What's the point? You spend $300,000 a year and you can't spell. So right now, the president wants to eliminate the federal Department of Education, put the money and the resources back into the states, because every state still has a Department of Education, in case you didn't realize. It's just that now they have this behemoth with billions of dollars at the top telling them what to do. So there are still going to be federal guidelines, but it should go back to the states. The lower court, there's one lower court in Massachusetts, decided that in spite of the Supreme Court saying a district court doesn't have the right to affect the whole country, they still tried to do it. And the Supreme Court slapped them, said, stop it. So the bottom line is now, as the head of the executive branch, and all those departments in the federal government work under the executive branch. So basically, President Trump and any president is the CEO of the executive branch. they can fire anyone they want. It's been determined over and over again. When President Obama came in, he fired everybody in the Department of Justice. Nobody questioned it. Everybody. He wanted his own people, and I don't blame him. So let the president, whoever the president is, Democrat or Republican, let the president be the president. And then if you don't like what happens in 4 years, vote him out, vote someone else in. 8 o'clock, some of President Trump's most loyal allies in Congress aren't satisfied by his decision not to release additional files from the Jeffrey Epstein case, and it's threatening to chip a chink in the MAGA armor. Privately, Trump's White House team has been trying to shift public attention away from the administration's position on the files, but House Speaker Mike Johnson yesterday became the highest-ranking Republican to say that he also wants to see more details from the investigation as the Speaker faces pressure to take the unusual step of using Congress's power to investigate the matter itself. Johnson made clear that he trusts Trump and backs Attorney General Pam Bondi. For now, the Speaker was one of several D.C. Republicans who said they are not happy with the information released so far surrounding the disgraced financier and convicted sex offender. And there's been a confirmed case of the measles in Hudson County. That, according to the New Jersey Department of Health. Officials say it does not appear related to an Ocean County measles case reported last week. Investigators say there are 8 locations throughout northern New Jersey that the patient visited, possibly exposing people in the process to the virus. It's extremely catchy. You just cough or sneeze once, and the virus literally becomes airborne and stays alive for hours. The measles easily spread through coughing or sneezing. It, as I mentioned, can remain 2 hours in an infected area. Symptoms include a high fever, cough, runny nose, watery red eyes, and a rash. Doctors urge everyone to make sure their vaccinations are up to date. And while it's not known if this case has anything to do with illegal migrants, Newsweek reported earlier this year that some of the first cases in the Midwest came from a new illegal alien arrivals location in Chicago, where it was traced back to other countries. Again, when people came across the border for the last 5 years, they weren't asked if they had medical records. They were just allowed, come on in. And the problem is they brought with them whatever diseases they had from their country, where vaccinations are not mandated like we have them here. It's not about being prejudiced. It's about maintaining the health of our citizens. So they could, and by the way, we're not just talking Central or South American. We're talking people also from Europe and Asia who have different vaccination records. So this is a universal thing we need to worry about. When we come back, losing a child to cancer is one of the most devastating things one can experience. We will talk with some folks from the Tom Coughlin J Fund Foundation about how they're helping people cope. Plus, we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Partly to mostly cloudy this morning, scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Highs upper 80s to low 90s. The full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta in a moment. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. We'll be back in 30. And a very good morning. It is 8:03, Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Partly to mostly cloudy this morning, scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening, highs upper 80s to low 90s. It'll feel stickier and hotter than that in some spots. We head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Ken, I looked up these hot dog facts because today being National Hot Dog Day, and AI really threw me for a loop because did you know there's a National Hot Dog and Sausage Council on Capitol Hill?
There should have been. Yeah. I mean, why shouldn't there be?
There is. Right. That's what designated the month of July as Hot Dog Month. But here's the fact that really got me. Approximately 7 billion with a B hot dogs are consumed annually. That's a lot of dogs.
You wonder why we have the illness that we have. Think about Tony Chestnut. He eats 1 billion by himself. Have you ever seen hot dogs being made, by the way? You know, the old sausage making process? Because it is a
I've seen
sausage.
sausage being made. Yeah, enlighten me. Tell me about these hot dogs.
All right, so I've made sausage, and you're part Italian as I am, and the sausage process. You see the ground chunks of meat when you make hot dogs,
Mhm.
specifically wieners. Wieners come that process comes out of northern Italy, Germany, and France. That's where that super ground meat comes from. It literally gets ground into a paste and it is so high in fat. It's like 40 to 50% fat goes into that. That's why it's so light in color. People say, why is sausage dark red and hot dogs are like bright pink? It's because it's like the real hot dogs were like 50% fat. And that's why they snapped because of all the fat inside. Just so you know. Ah,
Wow,
my heart
that's
is
probably
stopping
like
right now.
that's why I like the Weisswurst, one of my favorite sausages, especially
Yeah.
in the sausage belt. Yeah.
And
Mm, okay.
Weisswurst has milk in it. That's one of the reasons
Oh
why
my
it's white.
goodness.
There you go.
They
But it's
learn
very
something new
light.
every day. Now I'm
Yeah.
really hungry. I was a little hungry before, now I'm really hungry. So let's get the weather forecast going for you. If you want to head out this morning and maybe enjoy a little breakfast al fresco, you'll be sweating. It's hot. And it stays humid through this afternoon, especially with temperatures that remain warm due to the clear sky. There's not a whole lot of cloud cover across New Jersey. Even the radar is nice and clear, but it's the heat and humidity today that could get you. There's the heat advisory up through 10 p.m. for the entire state, 8 o'clock along the coastal regions. And that's through tomorrow evening because we get another round of hot weather on the way for your Thursday. We start off with an actual air temperature of 82 right now in Newark, 79 in Morristown. It feels much warmer. In fact, it feels 5 to 7 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. The humidity is high, dew points in the upper 70s. Ugh, approaching 80 there by Camden. That is rainforest like, and it will stay very humid throughout the rest of the day into this evening, helping to promote those afternoon storms. So we get sunshine this morning, a good southerly breeze pushing in more heat and humidity throughout the day, and might keep the coast a little bit cooler, but that will only aid in bringing in some more of those storms and helping to energize those storms later on this afternoon. Good news is that is a steering mechanism that pushes the storms away. So these downpours that develop don't sit and pour over the same location like they did on Monday. We'll see them kind of spread out and spread that rain out over several towns and communities. So maybe up to 2 inches of rain forecast with these storms in isolated locations. As the storms push on through this evening, again, figure on after 3 p.m. right up until 8 o'clock tonight, we get another round tomorrow morning down the shore. And then tomorrow morning begins sunny statewide. Temperatures quickly climb into the mid 90s, and we get another round of storms later on in the day as the front pushes on through. I think we'll start to feel the effects of that cold front by Friday, dropping temperatures into the 70s and then the 60s, and they keep falling down into the 50s even by early on Friday afternoon into early Saturday morning. Look at that, 57 degrees waking up Saturday morning in Sussex, starting off our day in the low 70s in northern New Jersey, rebounding into the 90s, but not nearly as humid as the sun takes over throughout the day to start off the weekend. Next few days, hot, 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 and humid too until Friday, where we break the heat and humidity, starting off a very pleasant and comfortable weekend. We'll give you more details on that weekend forecast, Ken, coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Gonna go get a hot dog. By the way, are you a more of a boiled hot dog or a grilled hot dog, or are you like on the barbecue grill, or are you like seared in a pan so you get the crust?
Okay, I go either way, whatever, if I'm really hungry, whatever fast. I've learned you put it in the air fryer, you get a hot dog in 6 minutes. So you can
Yeah.
really speed the process up without waiting for the grill to warm up or the pot of water to boil.
See, I used to be into that, but I find that too salty now because I'm old. I find
Hmm.
it too salty for my taste now, so now I go to the boiled. But I used to love it where you sliced it in half and you seared it on both sides. Not healthy for you. Don't do it too often, though. There's a lot of nitrates, as you pointed out, and that's the only way to preserve it, but it's not good. There's all sorts of cancer-causing agents in that. So once in a while, okay. All the time, don't do it like all the time, for real. Thank you so much, sir. We will check back with you. Appreciate you as always. 73 degrees. Let's take a look at what we have now on I-280. This is I-280 East at the Garden State Parkway. This is as you approach the Newark area, actually. And you could see that things are moving. It was heavier a couple of moments ago, but there is a lot of volume. And as you can see, the cars are now moving southbound as they come towards you because of the shadow to the left. That means the east sun is to the right rather. The east sun is to the left. So that means that they are headed south as they come towards you. That's those trucks that are stopped there. 809 right now. Some other roadways to worry about. We have flooding on Route 22 by Washington Avenue in Greenbrook Township with all lanes closed. Also, if you go over to North Plainfield, Route 22 is shut down. That's from all the flooding they had the other night. And let's go to the GWB. We now have a crash with injuries on the lower level eastbound. And that, you see the lower levels on the left, that's causing that. So some people are going over to the upper level as they approach to avoid the lower level. But if you're headed into Manhattan by the GWB, take the upper level. That's toward the right. Don't go to the lower level on the left because of the crash that you're going to have to endure as you get past the toll area. We have about a 40-minute crossover time on the lower level. It's only 30 on the upper. And the Lincoln is 25. Holland is currently 20. 8:10 is our time. While most know former NFL coach Tom Coughlin for his Super Bowl wins, his lasting legacy may be off the field. Through the Tom Coughlin J Fund Foundation, he has spent decades helping families tackle childhood cancer, not just during treatment, but through the most unthinkable losses of children. Later this month, on July 26th and 27th, the foundation will host its Remembrance Weekend for New York and New Jersey families, honoring all those people who, with such gut-wrenching passion, have lost a child to cancer. From creative expression to peer connection, it's a weekend of healing, reflection, and continued support. Joining us now are Mary Jane Pulzello, who's the managing director for New York and New Jersey, and Emily Tresnan, a certified grief counselor and program manager for the J Fund. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Morning, Ken.
Good morning.
Now, for families here in New Jersey and all across the region, share the mission of the J Fund and how Remembrance Weekend, which is coming up again July 26th and 27th, how Remembrance Weekend came to be.
Well, as you said, for decades, Coach Coughlin has been helping families who are tackling childhood cancer. Coach started in Jacksonville, Florida, when he was the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then 20 years ago, he started in New York and New Jersey when he was the coach of the New York Giants. The J Fund supports families who are tackling childhood cancer by providing financial, emotional, and practical support. And the goal is that they can focus on their child and not have to worry about anything else. So we pay household expenses, Ken, rent, mortgage, utilities, transportation, food, so they can focus on getting their child well. And once you are a J Fund family, you are always a J Fund family. So it's from treatment, from diagnosis, treatment, and beyond, as you said, we are there for parents so they can be there for their child. And Remembrance Weekend was actually started down in Jacksonville about 24 years ago when a social worker who worked very closely with the J Fund and who also lost her son to childhood cancer recognized the need for something like Remembrance Weekend for families to recognize and honor the children that they had lost who passed away. So she shared her thoughts with the J Fund, and 24 years ago, Remembrance Weekend was born. And we're thankful to have the same incredible, important program to be able to offer to local families, New York and New Jersey, thanks to our partnership with New York Life.
That's awesome. I just, look, I don't have any kids. I have nieces and nephews, a lot of them, and I'm in love with them. And I can't even envision having to go through the trauma and the emotional, the gut-wrenching day-to-day feelings of having a child with cancer, because a child represents innocence. Your whole life, our whole purpose of being here is to make sure that next generation comes up. And I think that's, and we'll talk, Emily could talk more to this. Obviously the psychology of it. Is that the reason why I guess it's so much more? Look, cancer is horrible. As they say, cancer sucks. It steals lives too young, too early. But specifically for children, it is so much worse because of innocence. So you're a child life specialist, a grief counselor. How does creative expression help families process and communicate their grief?
Right. I think for a lot, like you said, it's not normal. It's not the normal path for a child to pass away, especially from cancer. So we want to provide a space that is comfortable for everybody to be able to express that grief. Grief can be really hard to articulate. So we want to provide those expressive outlets for all ages, whether that's caregivers, parents, siblings. We want them to be comfortable and safe to be able to express what they're going through. These are really, really big feelings and really big happenings in their life. So we want to give them those outlets. For example, one of our sibling groups, we will be doing a grief heart puzzle. So each sibling will receive a puzzle piece where they're able to draw out, write out, really express their grief in their own way on that puzzle piece. And then they'll work as a team to put the puzzle back together. So we'll see this large heart put back together of each individual's expression of their own grief. And in that, they're able to see that they are part of a community. They have peers surrounding them that understand their journey. Everyone's grief journey is individual, but they have peers in that room with them that understand that journey.
It is amazing how some people shut down with grief. Some people want to talk about it nonstop, although I think they're probably more in the minority. They kind of have to be pulled. And I know it's healthier to talk about it, to get it out. And some people find faith, some people lose faith. It's just a different thing for everybody. What kinds of feedback do you hear, either one of you, from families after attending a weekend like this?
I think some of the biggest feedback that we receive is that they find a circle that they can relate to. So they're able to create this community around them to really help. It doesn't make your grief go away, but it does help you feel seen and validated in that. So we do get a lot of feedback of just kind of a thank you for providing us a new community to be a part of. Kind of like Mary Jane said, once a J-Fund family, always a J-Fund family. But this is a specific environment where they can really feel seen and heard by their peers.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who are suffering with their family member, a child in this case, with cancer, a lot of people feel so alone because they feel that other people you can't empathize. They try, but you really can't because you can't understand if it's not your child. And I just know I have friends right now who have like parents who are dying. In the last week, it's like multiple. Oh, it seems everywhere I turn, I have another person who's losing a parent. And I feel for them and I try to be there for them. But that's the one thing I've heard from all of them in their grieving process as they're losing or lost their parents is they feel very alone. And I can imagine as a parent caring for a child, that must be the overwhelming feeling that these parents feel that this is their kid and no one else can understand the grief they're feeling. For families who are currently navigating a cancer diagnosis, what are the resources and the emotional support that the J Fund can offer them?
So some
Go
of
ahead, Mary.
the
Yeah, Mary.
some of the support that we offer families is we just always want to be there for them. So whether that is providing the financial support, practical support, or the emotional support, we provide resources, food pantries, paying financial bills, things like that. So we really want to be involved and offer other events too. So bringing all families together, again, to just create that community for them. But we try to offer as many resources and support as we can.
And Mary Jane, for you too, how do you feel the best way is to get the mission message out there to people to know that, this is a horrible thing, but you're not alone? How do you get that message across?
Well, we welcome everybody, Ken, first of all, to go to our website, tcjfund.org, to learn more about the J Fund and what we do and what we offer. But as Emily said, it's really about the family unit. It's not just about the patient because sometimes the siblings get lost, the caregivers are overwhelmed. So we offer programs for all family members. And we want to make sure that they realize that we're there for them. And like you say, they're not on an island, they're not alone. And we'll help a family. It's kind of a club that nobody wants to belong to. They start with us at diagnosis, and they're informed by their social workers at partner hospitals that we deal with in New York and New Jersey, that the J Fund exists and that we're there for them. But then things progress, and if things don't go the way we're all hoping for, now we have Remembrance Weekend to offer families, as well as we offer scholarships, parties for families. We have great partnership with the New York Giants, of course, still. And we have events that families can go to, but they go as a family unit. And Remembrance Weekend is just one more program, an important program and meaningful program. And in Jacksonville, we see that year after year, families come back to reunite with the families that they may have met the year before. So they really are forming this this close bond and this community with these families who have gone through the most tragic loss. But they do see that there is a light, that they can share their grief, and there's a light after loss. And hopefully the J Fund helps them on that journey.
You know, we've had oncologists on this show before, and one thing I learned from them, something I never realized, is younger people, smaller humans, have metabolisms that are very fast, and cancer tends, in general, not always, but tends to run very fast. And in younger people, in little kids, as opposed to an elderly person. So an elderly person diagnosed with, say, a man diagnosed in their 80s with prostate cancer could live 10 years. A baby diagnosed with, say, a brain cancer, it could go in a few months. And I think that must have so much more of an impact of the rapidity, where like 1 minute my child's fine, the next minute, what happened? And so the fact that you folks are there to help these people through what is like getting hit in the head with a hammer is just amazing. You're saints. Thank you for being there and for helping these families and getting them through what is just a life-altering, mind-boggling experience. And God bless you, really, for what you do. Mary Jane Pulsello, Managing Director for New York and New Jersey, and Emily Tresnan, Certified Grief Counselor and Program Manager for the Tom Coughlin J Fund Foundation. Go to their website, donate, and if you need them, they're there to help you. Thank you both for joining us this morning. Come back again, please.
Thank you so much.
You bet. There, but for the grace of God. It is now 75 degrees at 8:21, partly to mostly cloudy this morning, scattered showers or thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. Highs upper 80s to low 90s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta comes back with a full Garden State forecast. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 822, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Partly to mostly cloudy this morning, scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Highs upper 80s to low 90s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. You can feel the humidity today. The heat going to overtake you through this afternoon. A heat advisory once again in place. This is, well, we've had a lot of these so far this year, and with temperatures at the beaches even warm, it's important to stay cool along the waterfront, even with the water temperatures warming into the low and mid 70s. Back toward Freehold and even over by Princeton, temperatures climb into the low 90s for you. The heat index already feels like 88 degrees at 8:23 this morning, feels like 86 in Hackensack and 86 in Atlantic City. So with all of the sunshine today, all of the heat and humidity, clouds will remain at bay until the early afternoon, and then we'll see those clouds develop. With that, the threat of some storms later on today, helping to bring back the rain risk for this evening. Also a little bit of a flooding risk too, as until then, the UV index is a 9. So tropical levels of humidity with high dew points or the temperature where the air is saturated. Anytime this number is 70 or greater, it feels very humid, oppressive in fact, but that number drops by Friday afternoon. That's the cold front working in and allowing to cool us off and drop the humidity through the end of the day on Friday, leading to a nice dry and comfortable start to the weekend. So with highs today climbing into the mid 90s, it'll feel like 99 to 100. Notice with these temperatures that will feel quite cool in through the end of the evening, thanks to the rain that comes in. That just adds to the very soupy, the very humid feel as those storms push on by. Notice the storms move quickly. They don't sit and rain over the same area over and over again. That's also the case tomorrow. So likely some of a flooding threat, but not as severe as we saw 2 days ago. Then by Friday morning, we have our last round of storms exit across southern New Jersey, and that will bring back some drier weather through the end of the day Friday into the weekend. Nice dry weekend setting up, at least to start. Maybe some rain by Sunday. Notice that by Thursday afternoon, this is tomorrow later in the day, could see another area that picks up 1 to 2 inches of rain with these embedded storms. So yes, there is still the potential for some rain, but I don't think as severe a flooding risk like 2 days ago. With the clearing that occurs on Monday and Tuesday, we've got a beautiful start to next week shaping up, nice and dry and sunny and not as oppressively hot and humid, but at least the next few days it stays warm. In fact, the weekend forecast starts off quite humid, stays humid throughout Sunday with a little bit more of a chance of rain, 86 degrees. I think that late shower chance on Sunday could get you early in the day, but it's not a washout Sunday, just an isolated risk of a shower or storm, and then turning dry by Monday yet again. So I think we get one great day in there on Saturday, and then possibly some showers by Sunday.
We've been lucky so far, but it would be nice to stay in that pattern of, let's hope it doesn't shift now. We were talking about that great weekend pattern. Let's hope it stays a great weekend pattern and Sunday's an anomaly. Fingers crossed, because we certainly aren't in a drought right now. That's the good news.
Nope.
We've had more than enough rain to not be in a drought. We were hoping that that would be the case. Now, Mother Nature, abbastanza. We're good. We love you. Mean it. All right. Let's go have our hot dog, Mother Nature. We'll be good. All right, Mike, we'll be back, sir. It is 76 sticky degrees. The humidity, it says here, is in the 90 percentile. Not a good thing where I am in northern New Jersey. We now have a report of a disabled bus at the Lincoln Tunnel, Center Tunnel, eastbound into New York. So take a look at what that has caused. Let's look at Route 3 at 495. That is 3.5 to 4 miles from where the disabled bus is. That's how far back the delays stretch. So now making your way into Manhattan via the Lincoln Tunnel is now going to cost you 45 minutes in. That's because of the disabled bus in one of the 3 tubes. Can you imagine? That's what it has caused right there. Just an absolute nightmare. The Holland Tunnel is actually your better bet, but it's starting to build because everybody is trying to avoid the Lincoln. The GWB, let's just go right to that and show you. The GWB is the 8095 approach. Now, we had heavy traffic earlier on the lower level because there was a crash at the toll plaza. So the lower levels on the left, you were told take the upper. It's a little better on the right there, but not great. Today's not the greatest day to make your way into Manhattan. So far, it looks like the Holland's your best bet, and that's at least 20 minutes. 827, if you live in Gloucester County and you own a car, listen up. We talked about this about half an hour ago. There's been an increase in cars being stolen from people's driveways. Now, before you think, wow, someone's breaking the glass and they're hot wiring the car. No, that's not what's happening. In every case, I don't want to be mean and call them names, but part of me does want to say dope. In every case, the lazy, dopey car owners, sorry, it is what it is, they left their key fobs in the car. Oh, it's a nice neighborhood. What's the big deal? No one's going to rob my car. So I'll just leave the key here. Why don't you leave the front door wide open? Leave the car. Why don't you put a sign on the front of your car? Come take my car. The key's in. Have fun. Have at it. God bless. God bless. Stupid. They left their key fobs in the car. So all the thieves had to do, because the car can't lock, there's a preventive feature. If you leave your key fob in the car, it will not lock. You try to lock, it will not lock. That is so you don't lock yourself out. So all the thieves have to do is see which car door is unlocked, open the door. The alarm won't go off because the key fob is in. They sit down when they see that you're out. They press start and they drive away. Your neighbors don't think anything of it. They don't hear an alarm. They don't see any glass breaking. So they steal the car. So the cars have been spotted in Philadelphia and Camden, shock, where like 90% of the carjackings in the tri-state happen. But this is in Washington Township. Don't be stupid. Don't leave the key fob in the car, and don't put the key fob by the front window or by the front door, because that's also where people have been breaking in and stealing them. Needless to say, be responsible, okay? Leave your keys somewhere in the house, away from the front, so people can't break in and steal your car. The Supreme Court Monday said that President Trump may proceed with his plan to carry out mass layoffs at the Department of Education in the latest win for the White House at the High Court. In an unsigned order, the justices lifted a lower court ruling that had indefinitely paused Trump's plan. The Supreme Court's decision puts that ruling on hold while the legal challenge plays out. Within 2 hours, the Department of Ed sent notices to employees indicating it is immediately resuming its plans to shrink the department. Trump ordered mass layoffs at the department earlier this year, cutting its workforce in half, but lower courts up in Massachusetts specifically had blocked the effort, saying the education department was created by Congress. Right, but nowhere does it say how many employees the education department has to have. Just because Congress created it and funds it does not say specifically you must have 2,328 employees or whatever. You could have one employee. You could have 10 employees. The president is, by constitution, the head of the executive branch, one of the three co-equal branches of government. You have the executive, the legislative, which is Congress, and the courts, okay, the judicial. Those are all co-equal branches. No one has more authority than the other. And the president is the head of the executive branch. And he, by constitution, runs those departments. So he can hire and fire whomever he wants. You could stomp your feet, I should say, and cry all you want. Doesn't matter. So if he wants to fire you, he has that right. Sounds mean, but if your boss calls you in and says, look, we're going to lay off this entire department, they can do it. Notice that liberal district court judges have no problem when government wants to expand and hire more people unnecessarily, but when it wants to contract and save the taxpayer money, like with when Elon Musk was heading Doge still exists, by the way. They blow a gasket and they say it's illegal. You can't cut the funding. Keep your hands off my money. It's not your money. It's our collective money. Bottom line, the federal departments fall under the purview of the president and the executive branch. He could hire and fire whomever he wants under his jurisdictions. Deal with it, period. End of sentence. Some of President Trump's most loyal allies in Congress are not satisfied by his decision not to release additional files from the Jeffrey Epstein case, and it's threatening to chip a chink in the MAGA armor. Privately, Trump's White House team says that they've been trying to shift public attention away from the administration's position on the files, but House Speaker Mike Johnson yesterday said, wait, not so fast. He became the highest-ranking Republican to say that he also wants to see more details from the investigation as the Speaker faces pressure to take the unusual step of using Congress's power to investigate the matter itself. What makes me laugh, though, about this is you have House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries screaming that there's like a cover-up, that the Trump administration and the Republicans have all this information about Jeffrey Epstein and they're holding it to themselves. Hey, guess what, Hakeem? Who controlled the House, the Senate, and the presidency? Who controlled it for 4 years? And that was when the Epstein case happened. Oh, that's right, the Democrats. The Democrats, and you were one of the House leaders. What the hell did you do during that time with the information? Shit. You did nothing. So shut your friggin' mouth. You're full of crap. Hakeem Jeffries is full of hot air. And he always looks like he has rehearsed a script. He's so phony. So don't buy a word of it like, oh, the Republicans, he always talks like this. All rehearsed. The Republicans are hiding something. Yeah? What did you do for 4 years, Hakeem? Nada. So shut the hell up. Just saying. There's been a confirmed case of the measles in Hudson County, that according to the New Jersey Department of Health. Officials say it doesn't appear related to an Ocean County measles case last week. Investigators say there are 8 locations throughout northern New Jersey the patient visited, so that patient could have exposed others to the virus anywhere along those areas. The individual went to urgent cares and hospital emergency rooms and doctor's offices, and in every case, coughed or sneezed, and the virus stays airborne. That's how you spread measles. So fingers crossed. If you were around somebody who's doing a lot of coughing in the last few weeks in a doctor's office or urgent care, make sure you have your measles vaccine up to date, the MMR vaccine, because otherwise you could be susceptible. And if you get any symptoms, go to the doctor, or at least call the doctor. Do a telemed first. 833 New Jersey's Liberal Democrats in Trenton are forcing low-income housing into every available square inch of very nice communities in the state. Now, look, I get it. You could say, well, my kids are a young couple. They can't afford a place to live. That's not what this is. They're calling it affordable housing. This is low-income housing. Sadly, many people, not all, but many people who get low-income housing are people who have drug issues, crime issues. Not all. Many are, like I said a minute ago, young people who can't afford a nicer place to live. But the whole point of being in a capitalistic society is you start out in a small home in a questionable neighborhood. And then you work hard, you save your money, you move to a little bit nicer neighborhood. And then you save your money, you move to a nicer neighborhood. No, the Democrats don't believe in that. They believe in everybody having the same thing. And in this case, it's not everybody having a nice place, it's everybody having a shit place because nobody deserves better than anyone else because that's the socialist way. So the socialist at the top lives in a nice neighborhood, but everybody else, you live in shit. You deal with the drug dealers and the criminals. I'll live in the nice drum thwacket or wherever else. That's the attitude. So what you're looking at there is Raceway Park. And Raceway Park, it looks like, is now a finalist, that motorsport raceway. It's going to be redeveloped to make way for hundreds of low-income housing units in beautiful Old Bridge. It's a pretty neighborhood. Yeah, it does suck. I'm being told in my ear. That's what liberals do. And that's why every time you go to vote, remember, oh, he's a good guy. He's a Democrat, but he's an old friend of mine. We've known him for years. That's what you get when you vote Democrat. They always vote in lockstep in a socialist manner. I don't care if it's in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, it's in Texas, or it's in New Jersey. Democrats are Democrats first. They always do this kind of shit to us. Do not trust Democrats ever. That is not to say Republicans are all roses and daisies, but at least they don't do crap like that. It is now 8:35, 76 degrees. Phone lines are open. You disagree? We want to hear. Defend the good Democrats. 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says partly to mostly cloudy this morning. Scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Highs upper 80s to low 90s. He'll be back with the full Garden State forecast in a moment. We're coming right back.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Very good morning to you. 8:36 is our time. It is Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. Our temperature 74 degrees and very high humidity. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. Partly to mostly cloudy this morning. Scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Highs upper 80s to low 90s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta now with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Waiting for the weekend, not just for the fact that it'll be the weekend, but the less humid and the drier weather that'll be like a breath of fresh air because it's a sticky, humid feel outside, like you were saying. Temperatures feeling like 95 to 99 today. Poor air quality as a result. The storms will be likely this afternoon with another round of flooding possible. Not as severe as 2 days ago, but still the potential is there. And it's even hotter tomorrow. So the visible satellite showing a little bit of cloud cover developing across Monmouth and Ocean counties, working its way north, kind of breaking up as you head toward Middlesex County right now. But as far as today, down in southern New Jersey, it's going to be a sunny afternoon with temperatures climbing into the upper 80s at the beaches, low 90s inland, lots of heat and humidity, and temperatures feeling like 99 over in Camden, 98 in Hackensack, and 97 toward Newark. So lots of heat, lots of humidity. Again tomorrow, feeling like 100 or 101 in the northeastern corner of the state, 99 in Trenton. Hot all around again with an even hotter day forecast for tomorrow. Now by Friday, we'll start to see the temperature drop by noon in northern New Jersey. That's as the cold front sweeps on through, dries the air out, reduces the humidity, and also makes for a slightly cooler feel into the day on Saturday. So more comfortable to start the weekend as we get the wrap up the rest of this week. Sunset 8:26 this evening, so nice and late as the average high is only 87 degrees. We're well above that today. And even through this afternoon, with the high tides happening in a nearly 80-degree water temperature there in Sandy Hook, very pleasant weather all around to enjoy some nice warm weather toward the beaches. Just keep an eye to the sky after about 3-4 o'clock. That's when you could have a passing afternoon storm. Great weather on the bay to be boating down along the Barnegat Bay or some of the rivers, the Navesink River, for instance, or even southern portions of Manahawkin Bay. excellent weather, and the rip current risk is low. So the dark shade of green you see is the low risk of severe weather. There's still a risk, and that primary threat is not only the rain, but the severe wind with gusts in excess of 58 miles per hour. Tomorrow, it's more widespread across the state, and that also brings down that chance of a severe wind right to the coast. So keep an eye to the sky tomorrow for the afternoon storms, as the heat and humidity will be there to help fuel the downpours that'll be present throughout our Thursday. It's also due to the front that pushes through. With that, I think we dry things out for Friday, especially by the evening. It'll feel lovely, but really we'll be able to enjoy Saturday very nicely. I think Sunday morning could have an early morning shower, but then that should clear by the afternoon. So despite a pre-dawn sprinkle early in the morning Sunday, I think the day is not lost. We ultimately turn sunnier again by the afternoon. Then starting off next week, Monday and Tuesday, a very pleasant pair of days, nice and sunny and dry, and the low 80s on tap. As far as the shore, it's going to be hard to escape the heat. Even at the beaches, 90s on tap for you. And then by Saturday, a little bit cooler. Sunday, early morning shower could last into the afternoon at the shore points. Monday and Tuesday, very pleasant with that low humidity and lots of sun to start off next week, Ken. So looking very nice to begin. That's going to be approaching the last week of July. It flew by so fast.
Yeah, no, don't say it. It is not allowed. You know what we got to do? I'll tell you what. Come the fall, we're going to pack up the show. We're going to move to Australia. We could do the morning show from Australia. That way now we'll be coming into the nice weather again and the long days. I think we should do that. I'm Pam, you could stay. Pam, our director, says she loves the fall. So Pam, you could stay here, and Mike and our families will move to Australia just for 6 months. What's the big deal?
Down under.
I'm sure Nino will appreciate it, saying, "I want my food. Give me my filet mignon, Daddy." All right.
They have a lot of Italians down there. I think we'll manage.
Yes, there are. Yes, absolutely. All right. We have a lot of traffic too. Thank you, Mike. It is 77 degrees now. The temperature is rising quickly and very humid in the 90% where I am. It's not the whole state that way. It's in the 70% in much of the state, but where I am, it's very humid. Let's take a look at this. And I have a second cam I'm going to give you live on the air, Pam, in a second. But first, let's take a look at Route 3 at the 495 merge. As folks are heading eastbound. So they're going toward New York right there in the middle of your screen. Look at what an ugly mess that is. That is because there is a disabled bus at the Lincoln Tunnel, which is only about 1.5 miles to 2 miles east of that point. So a disabled bus. Yeah, well, the line of buses, Pam is saying, look at the line of buses. That's where the disabled bus is. So that lane that you see, the bus lane, that line of buses, that lane is in the oncoming. That's a separate bus lane they create. In essence, you could see to the left of those buses, oncoming traffic exists. So they create that to speed things up, to give them their own lane. What happens is if a bus breaks down in their own lane, that's what you get. So now if you're on a bus trying to get into the Lincoln Tunnel, you're stopped. You're not moving. Look at that. So that has created a mess. So if you have somebody who takes an express bus from New Jersey into Manhattan in the Lincoln Tunnel, they're stopped right now. And everybody else is also in bumper to bumper as a result. The Lincoln Tunnel is a mess. Lincoln Tunnel is a mess. So most people getting in, it's going to be 45 minutes. If you're on a bus, we don't even know how long it's going to be before they get that disabled bus out, because what they have to do is send a heavy tow from the Manhattan side backwards against traffic and pull that disabled bus out into Manhattan. So that's why they are stopped. And that's been that way for about 25 minutes in that heat. It's going to probably be that way for another 20, 25 minutes. I guarantee until the end of the show, it's going to be that way at least. So if you have somebody stuck on that bus, call them up and help them kill time, because they're going to be there for a while, unfortunately. 8:43, some other issues. Pam, I'm going to ask you if you could bring this up. This is another ugly shot. If you could bring this up live. This is New Jersey Turnpike, Pam. New Jersey Turnpike, Eastern Spur at interchange 16E. So it's mile marker 112.3, Eastern Spur, interchange 16E, south of Plaza. Sorry to do this live on the air. But nope, that's a different one. So it's mile marker 112.3, Eastern Spur, interchange 16E, south of Plaza. Although that was ugly too. See all the buses stopped there. It's probably the same issue that we just had. So mile marker 112.3, Eastern Spur, interchange 16E, south of Plaza. If we could bring it, well, if anything, I'll do this. Oh, there it is. That's the one. So this is a mess right now because of, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Pam, for getting that. Pam makes magic happen live on the air. So this is because of those vehicles on the right. Those are also going toward the Lincoln Tunnel. I'm just trying to show you that every approach to the Lincoln is now a mess, and that is because of the disabled bus that is in the middle of that middle tunnel. Just an absolute nightmare. So don't go. Yeah, mass transit is your best bet for sure, but do not take the Lincoln Tunnel in no matter what approach. It's a mess. Let's take a look if we can. I know it's hard to switch on the fly to the 8095 approach to the GWB. It now is starting to build because a lot of people are avoiding the Lincoln. You can see the 8095 approach. Yeah, it's just starting. You see the upper level is now getting heavy. The lower level is a little bit better, but right there we're told is 35 minutes in. Holland Tunnel still your better bet at 25 minutes, but a mess making your way by car into Manhattan. It is 8:45 right now. New York City mayoral frontrunner Zohran Mamdani stuck to his socialist guns during a gathering with New York business leaders yesterday, doubling down on his plan to raise their taxes if elected. By the way, many of the most powerful CEOs did not show because they're not fans. The big high-power traditional Democrats are avoiding him like the plague. And you see the woman in the middle right there. The woman in the middle right there is the U.S. attorney for New York. And she is looking into Mamdani's claims that he wants to tax the rich because it's against the law. I'm sorry, where he says billionaires shouldn't exist. It is against the law. And more specifically, where he said that we should tax white neighborhoods higher. That is a civil rights violation. And she, the woman in the middle, the U.S. attorney for Lower New York, now is looking into investigating Mr. Mamdani, because if that is indeed what he intends on doing, taxing white neighborhoods differently, specifically, he didn't say wealthier neighborhoods, he said white neighborhoods. That is being racist. You cannot do that. That violates federal law. See, this is what happens when Mr. Mamdani comes from Uganda. He's only been here like 7 years, 8 years. His parents came here because they wanted to reap the benefits of living in a free society, and then they bring with them socialist customs from a communist country. Crazy. But they have money, so they don't give a shit. Mommy is a successful movie director. Daddy's a powerful professor. And Mamdani only worked one job before running for office. He worked one friggin' job, has money in the bank from mommy and daddy. He said that actually he could live on the trust fund mommy and daddy set up. Yet the rest of you can go to hell as far as he's concerned. And Mamdani he worked one job and then became an assemblyman. And now he's running for mayor. Yeah, that qualifies you, right? What the hell is Gen Z thinking in Manhattan? When they're interviewed, they talk about it like he's the greatest thing, the smartest thing. He's a freaking communist. He's barely been in America. In the vast majority of his life, he was raised in a country where communism reigns. And his parents were not at the bottom of the communist rung, they were at the top. So basically, his family comes from remember, his father is quoted as saying that suicide bombers should be looked at in a different light, that they shouldn't be criticized. That's where Mamdani comes from. Yet these people are defending him. He was saying globalize the intifada, which means everybody rise up against white people and against Jews around the world and kill them. That's what he stands for. And he refuses to back down. He's been offered the opportunity by NBC News 3 times to distance himself from that and refuses to. He also doesn't distance himself from the phrase seizing the means of production. What does that mean? It's Marxist. Seizing the means of production means come in and take over privately owned factories, take over your dad or mom's business that they worked their whole lives for, because it'll be better in the public interest if government runs it. How does that work? How did it work in the former Soviet Union? How did it work in China before China began to come more toward capitalism? The only reason why China has any kind of business ability is because their major cities are hybrids. Their major cities in China, like Beijing and Hong Kong, are run as capitalist cities, and they're allowed to do international trade. They're pretty autonomous from the rest of Canada, and they bring in hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue. Before they allowed that, China was just devastatingly poor. People couldn't eat. So it was only when they introduced some capitalism that China began to get money. So people are just crazy. They don't read history. They're blinded and they think the idea of socialism sounds so good. Oh, we'll all be even. It's good. We all got. No, it's not that we'll all be even at the top. If that were the case, I'd be a socialist. It's when you pull everything together and you say all for one for all. In that case, what ends up happening is there's no motivation to work hard and try harder. So everybody is in wallowing in shit. That's what happens in every socialist country. When you introduce capitalism, everybody competes. So you all try to outdo each other. As a result, you all end up on top. Everybody does better under capitalism. Capitalism has raised the bar for society for the hundreds of years that we've had it. And we have fed the world because of our capitalist society, a world that was starving. The reason why we have 7 billion people on the planet today is because of America and our industrial ways and our capitalism. Not even because of Europe. It's because of America. So wake up. You want to go back toward capitalism? You're nuts. 8:50 is our time. We will be back in just a moment. Another check of weather, our last check for the morning, and the Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta. You're watching on ONNJ Mornings. We'll be back in 30 seconds. And welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 851. We'll take your calls if you want to squeeze one in at 888-658-0234. Partly to mostly cloudy this morning, scattered showers this afternoon and evening, or maybe a thunderstorm. Highs upper 80s to low 90s. It'll feel stickier and hotter than that, though. Right to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
It will feel very sticky and hot throughout this afternoon. Heat advisory in place once again. I think tomorrow will feel even warmer with highs today, actual air temperatures reaching the low 90s. It'll feel like 95 to 99, hence the heat advisory when you factor in the humidity together. So not only in New Jersey is it heating up, down in the tropics, you have this large area of convection working its way west over toward Louisiana. That may become our next name system, at least in the next few days, entering some pretty warm water. And even though the trade winds are pushing it west, we'll see if it continues to develop. We're still very early in hurricane season. The peak of hurricane season in terms of activity happens in the middle of September. So we still have a ways to go in terms of named storms as the tropics get going. Our forecast points to pretty warm weather over the next 2 weeks, right through the end of the month. July 30th is how long as this goes. And you can see most of the south and southeast also stays warm. Our rainfall will be slightly higher than average, but not as high as places in the Midwest. Through the next several days, temperatures warm into tomorrow, likely feeling like 100 or better. Could see a few afternoon storms as well. And then I think those storms wrap up early Friday, leading to a beautiful afternoon. Friday looks very pleasant, especially with Saturday bringing back low humidity and lots of sun. Now, there could be a late afternoon, probably late night into early morning storm on Sunday. That's why you see these showers here. But the day is not lost. I think we'll ultimately turn out dry. And Monday and Tuesday of next week starts off a very nice feel as well. The shore points, very hot for you right through Friday as the front takes its time to work its way south. You probably won't feel the effects of that front until Saturday, which is why the high is only at 85 on Saturday with less humidity. Maybe an early morning shower for you on Sunday, and then it's back to the dry weather with lower humidity come Monday and Tuesday. So pleasant going into the next 7 days. Just once we get beyond these next 2 days of big heat, I think Friday you'll really begin to feel it first in northern New Jersey and then in southern New Jersey by Saturday morning. That cooler weather, Ken.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. We're looking forward to a little bit of a cooler bit of weather as opposed to this humidity and heat. It's just really sticky. Thanks, Mike. Have a good day, sir. 76 degrees already in the 90s where I am in terms of percentile of humidity. 96% is just, it's like, might as well be in rain. It's just so sticky and humid here. And that's just where it is in northern New Jersey. I'm surrounded by a lot of forest and whatnot. And so that holds in the humidity. In terms of traffic, we really have a mess. but it's going to get better. So here's what we're going to do. Take a look at, please, Pam, the NJ3, Route 3 cam at 495. So that's where, look at how much better it's moving now. See, now it looks like the outbound traffic is heavy, which is on the left, but the buses are starting to crawl. So that tells me there was a disabled bus in the middle tunnel, the Lincoln Tunnel, the middle tube. And you can see now the buses are, it's like stop and go. A minute ago, they were flowing. So apparently that means that they must have cleared the disabled bus. They must, yeah, see, they're moving. So they must have towed the bus into Manhattan. So you're gonna have residual delays. It's not all cherries and grapes and whatnot making your way into Manhattan via the Lincoln Tunnel yet. I would avoid it for at least half an hour to 40 minutes until things can get back to normal. But 10 minutes ago, it was dead stopped. Now it's crawling in. So hopefully they got that. I don't have official word that they cleared out the bus, but it looks like they may have done that. Just avoid the Lincoln Tunnel for at least the next half hour. If you can, Holland is much better. It's 25 minutes, but that's moving at least. Taking a look some of the other roadways now, we have actually really just the Garden State Parkway southbound from exit 136 to 135, 2-mile delay, just a lot of volume right there. We take a look at the 8095. Oh no, I'm sorry, Pam. Yes, thank you for this camera. This is the approach. This is mile marker 112.3, Eastern Spur of interchange 16E. South of the plaza. So this is where the New Jersey Turnpike gets onto 495 over by Route 3 and 495. And you can see they are bumper to bumper. So this is going to open up and get better. But right now you can see the buses are stopped there. So this is still residual delays. This is a big mess. If you have loved ones, friends who take the express buses from New Jersey into Manhattan, they're going to be very late because those buses are going to be delayed 30 to 60 minutes at least, it looks like, until they get this problem solved. Everybody's just stopped in that heat. And I'm sure even with air conditioning on those buses, when they're stopped, the air conditioning doesn't work as effectively. So that's going to be a mess. And right now you're talking, it says 45 minutes in for the lanes that are moving. I'm betting it's going to be over an hour, and by bus even more than that because they're in their own dedicated lane. Good luck getting in today. Kind of a nightmare. We could switch over when you get a chance to the 8095 approach to the GWB, see if that's any better. A couple of minutes ago, we did have the upper. Yeah, there we go. That is a little bit better, certainly. So take the Holland or take the GWB. We're told it's 35 minutes into the GWB and 20 minutes at the Holland. Otherwise, take mass transit. That's your best bet. 8:56 right now. A federal jury in Brooklyn has convicted 3 New Jersey men, Asim Boone, Jarrett Bruce, and Leslie Valentine, for a brutal 2022 kidnapping and extortion plot in Astoria. The trio abducted a man at gunpoint, tortured him with bleach, a blowtorch, and a knife, demanded $150,000 and marijuana for his release. I believe we have the pictures of the 3 individuals. We're told, there we are, they're facing life in prison, according to authorities. The defendants linked to a violent New Jersey gang also attempted to destroy evidence. That, according to U.S. Attorney Joseph Nocella, who calls the crime heinous, praising the FBI and NYPD for their work in securing the verdict. 8:57, a 37-year-old North Bergen man has been charged in a hit-and-run crash in Leonia that critically injured a 77-year-old woman. Authorities say Osmari Jimenez Luna struck the victim while she crossed Grand Avenue last Thursday morning in a red 2012 Toyota Sienna and then fled the scene. The woman remains in critical at Hackensack University Medical. Jimenez Luna was arrested Monday and is being held at Bergen County Jail pending his court appearance. Temperature right now 76 degrees at 8:58. Meteorologist Mike Favetta once again says partly to mostly cloudy skies this morning. Scattered showers or thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Highs upper 80s to low 90s. Going to feel stickier and hotter than that, though, with the humidity. And that is on New Jersey Mornings for your Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. I'm Ken Rosato. Remember, you could stream us at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And we now stream live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. We'll catch you again tomorrow morning at 7. If you like what you saw, tell everyone you know about us. Send it on social media. If you don't like what you saw, let's keep it our little secret. Till tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., thank you again for watching. Stay cool and have a great day. Thanks for watching on New Jersey Mornings.